guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I am Mike, and this is a tier list of all of the horror movies that I watched in 2024. Now, we do a lot of these tier lists on our live streams, and they're an absolute blast. Jay just hasn't seen a lot of these movies that I'm going to be talking about today, so we couldn't do it that way, but I will put at the end of this video two different awesome live stream tier lists that we did. We're live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the most part, and other nights as well. We do horror icons, we do all sorts of stuff. We have an absolute blast, so if you enjoy the channel and you enjoy these videos, make sure you check out one of those live streams somehow, and the best way to do that is to have the thing clicked in the corner, you know, all the YouTube crap. Let's get into this year in horror, which I thought was pretty good overall. So let us get into the tier list. We have All-Timer, which is reserved for really the best movies, not just of the year, but I'm talking about like this is an all-time classic. There's gonna be very, very few movies that make All-Timer. Almost Touches the Sun, Pretty Rad, Fuckable, and then finally Sucks My Butt Steve. So let's get into it. Randomly, we will click this guy right here, Speak No Evil, a movie that a lot of people thought was going to be a Sucks My Butt Steve, given Blumhouse's recent track record with a lot of stuff, a lot of uninspired crap that they've been putting out there. Was kind of worried about this one, especially since it's a remake and we were all sick of seeing the movie trailer over and over and over again every single week. But James McAvoy is a fucking badass, and he continues to prove it here. He was awesome. The entire cast was awesome. After reading what happens in the original film, I'll never ever watch it. Nope, that's the kind of thing that will make me mad and make me want to break my TV and kick someone's butthole. But this one was pretty darn good, and I love Mackenzie Davis. Great acting, great tension throughout. The end a little messy, but overall a pretty darn good experience at the theater. I'm gonna give Speak No Evil Pretty Rad. We're gonna put you right in the pretty rad territory, right there. I feel good about that. I feel good about that. Let's go to Heretic over here. Now this one stars Hugh Grant in a totally against type role for him. He was really good in The Gentleman, and another against type role for him. But a lot of fun stuff to say about religion, about a lot of fun ideas about religion, thoughts. I compared it to a movie called The Sunset Limited that had Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel L. Jackson in it from back in the day. Just a lot of really good, interesting conversation that takes place in it. And it's directed really well, great camera movements, good acting throughout. Hugh Grant was amazing in the first half of this movie. I feel like the second half of it really sort of falls apart when you start to get into it. It becomes sort of generic in certain territories and kind of unbelievable here and there and whatnot. But overall, still a really good experience as a movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I will also go Pretty Rad with Heretic as well. Let's do something dirty, and that's the Salem slot from Max Original. This movie, I have no qualms. Some people will disagree. Some people enjoyed this movie for what it was. I think that this is the worst of the horror genre, as the worst kind of movie in the horror genre that we have going as a genre. It's the Conjuring spinoff type of thing. It's absolute Walmart, pedantic, safe, no teeth, boring horror. This thing looks like it was created in a bottle. Everyone's shirts look like they just got, you know those shirts when you go to like Doll Hairs and the button-up shirts? They have little pins in them, they're fresh out of the package. Like everything was just so sterile in this movie, and it was so lifeless and just, oh, it's just one of the worst things I hate about movies. I loathed the Salem Slot remake, thought it was boring as hell. It goes and Sucks My Butt Steve for me. But that being said, I respect if you liked it. Mr. Crockett, a lot of you guys are saying, what the fuck is that, Jim? It's a weird movie, man. It was on Hulu. And the first thing I want to say is this dude who plays in this movie is absolutely one of the best horror performances of the year. It's amazing. If you like movies like Stay Tuned and weird shit like that, like 90s stuff, you should check out this movie. It's a very Freddy Krueger brain scan type of over-the-top crazy performance. This guy's like a Mr. Rogers type dude who comes out of the TV to kidnap and murder parents and kidnap the kids when he sees through the TV the parents being shitty to the kids. Super low budget, really falls on its face in the second half of the movie. A lot of the stuff outside of Mr. Crockett himself, not great, but the way that they did the practical effects with the monsters on his TV show, not really great. I'm going to put this one in fuckable, but it has lemmings of, I don't even know what lemmings actually means, by the way. It has touches of, I mean, almost touches the sun in it for sure. But as a whole movie, I think it's got to go to the fuckable category. Ooh, something's crawling on me. Is it a bug? Oh God. I think it's just a hair or something. Josh Hartnett in Trap. Look, again here, great performance in a movie that definitely has far more issues than its lead actor. I thought Hartnett was awesome in this movie. He gave such a Patrick Bateman crazy, especially the last act of the film. He was so over the top and crazy. I really, really enjoyed him for it. He actually took it over the top. I don't think it's a bad film. I think it's the typical kind of middle of the road M. Night Shyamalan film where it's got a fun vibe to it and you enjoy it. There are a lot of story holes, but I appreciate that he swings for the fences every time. I just feel like this one was a little loosey-goosey on some of the suspense of belief that it requires. But still, his performance, plus the fact that I just dig the vibe of it so much, for me, it goes in pretty rad. I understand for a lot of people if that goes to the fuckable territory because the issues it has. But I'm so in love with what happens in this movie as far as his performance goes. It's good enough for pretty rad for me. In a Violent Nature, this is a movie that I enjoyed to an extent. I thought the ending was terrible. I thought it was crap. I thought the ending was awful, but the kills, so good. If you're a huge slasher fan, it's like playing a video game slasher where you're just the character walking through the woods on your way. Sometimes the map respawns you a little far away from where you'd like to be from the action, for sure. But I love the way that you're watching it through the killer's eyes and you hear the characters through his periph. And it's inventive as hell and it's entertaining and it's a nice addition to the genre for sure. I'm going to put In a Violent Nature in pretty rad as well, even with its many story issues. I did like the lore of it though. I like how they built a new slasher out of it. Ghostbusters Afterlife. These aren't all pure horror. Anything that's suspense, thriller, whatever, reaches in and around the whole of horror will be on this list. Afterlife, that being said, people aren't going to like me for this one. I know it. I know I'm putting some of the most controversial picks first, but I'm just going to be honest with you guys. More and more I think about it, the more and more I hate what Ghostbusters has become. It is a sucks my butt Steve for me. Yes, I know. People really don't like our opinion on this. Jay didn't love it either, and he's the biggest Ghostbusters fan you'll find. I just think it steps so far from what Ghostbusters was. I think they've taken what used to be a comedy, like an adult comedy that kids could also watch and think was really cool, into just this PBS, just toothless, non-funny CGI fest. There's nothing in there for me. The Strangers, Chapter 1. God, I wish I clicked anything but this one after putting a movie that so many people like more than we do. There's a hair and it won't stop touching me. God damn, that's a big hair. It must be my wife's. Lord knows I don't have any that long anymore. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. The Strangers, Chapter 1. Look, it's not a great movie. It's not a great movie, and I won't try to convince anyone that it is. The idea to remake that movie, even though it's so recent and so simple, there's no point in remaking at all whatsoever. But I feel like we'll look back upon this one with a little bit more rose-colored glasses once we see Strangers 2 and 3. The Strangers Chapter 2 trailer looks amazing. They're going to do some fun stuff with this. And I feel like this was really necessary. But ultimately, goddamn, that's just not a movie that ever needed to be remade. And that really killed any hope it had. I don't think the way that they executed it was all that bad. And I love Madeline Petch. And I'm fucking fascinated to see with the way that this ended in the trailer for the next one, where it goes. And I thought it was good to look at. It just, yeah, I'm going to put it in fuckable. That's where it's going to go for me. A lot of people would put it sucks my butt, Steve, but I found stuff to enjoy in it. I really did. The First Omen. This is, gosh, man, it was back in April. It seems like it was January or something for sure. And another movie I did not get to see is Immaculate. I wish that made this list. I'm going to try to watch it before the end of the year. And obviously Nosferatu won't be on this list because it's not out yet, but I'll add it afterwards in that review. The First Omen, man, what great performances. Absolute, just creepy as hell religious fair, and they went there. I mean, if you've seen it, whew, they went there on a couple scenes. I like that movie a lot. I really, really enjoyed it. It was one of the scariest movies I saw all year. I'm gonna put Almost Touches the Sun. That's where I'm gonna put The First Omen. I thought it's just one of the most memorable, actually frightening at times, creepy ass religious movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Lisa Frankenstein was one that came out earlier in the year as well, Valentine's Day. Just kind of, it was pretty fun, lighthearted, good time. If it was on TBS and you're flipping the channels, you'll sit back and watch it and eat some popcorn. It took the kids to see it, so there's a couple scenes in there that I wish I hadn't. But I liked it, man. I enjoyed it. I'm just going to put it in I'm going to put it in fuckable. It's just kind of, it's all right, pretty good. You know, it's just kind of pretty good. It's just nothing really stood out that much to me. It's just a decent little fun movie, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I may end up moving that to pretty rad. We'll see. Arcadian is a movie that is the definition of fuckable. It's a Nick Cage movie, Nick Cage direct-to-VOD movie. It's a post-apocalyptic movie. A lot of that stuff is just like, oh man, we've seen this same thing in like 1,000 post-apocalyptic movies. And the problem was the CGI on the monsters looked like absolute duty crust. But the idea of the monsters, the story and the lore behind them was actually pretty cool. And Nick Cage is always a badass. And the story was just emotional and dramatic with these kids and the brothers and what they're going through. Just at the end, kind of a ho-hum sort of post-apocalyptic movie with a couple really interesting wrinkles to it. So I'll put it in fuckable, but there's nothing wrong with that. That's a respectable place for it to go, for sure. Fear Street hasn't come out yet. That was from I did 15 horror franchises coming in 2025, just like me and Nosferatu. You know, the commercials like, I'm coming. Like, we get it. Nosferatu's gonna come on everyone. All right, can we move on, please? Late Night with the Devil is a movie that people just absolutely lost their shit pants over. I actually was a little bit lower on this movie than a lot of people were. While I enjoyed it, mainly because David Dastmalchian's performance as like the Johnny Carson type was just top notch. I'm talking, that's an all-timer performance. You know what I mean? I think the movie around it, the way that they filmed it with the aesthetic and how they did it was super cool. And I totally recommend anybody watching this sort of documentary style evil. It got a little magoo, I think, with some of the effects and stuff, and it got a little just, I don't want to be, corny's not the word I'm looking for, but just with the skeptic guy being so over the top and some of the, like, I thought it was going to go places it didn't really go, and then the ending was just sort of a letdown for me. It's a real mixed bag, but it's good enough. What's good in it, it's good enough for me to go to pretty rad. Really enjoyed that as a movie for sure. Abigail. You guys know I love the Ready or Not dudes. I love Radio Silence. I enjoy what they did with Scream. I love Ready or Not. Abigail was more of just their good shit, you know? I don't think that it worked as well as I'd hoped it would. You know, it had a really great cast. They did a really great job. Dan Stevens. Sammy, those are fucking onions. Like, there's certain really great moments in this. Haven't felt the need to go back and revisit it yet. I mean, I want to, I will. I think that with a couple of tweaks, this could have been an Almost Touches the Sun, but it's still funny, fun, and horrific enough to go to pretty rad, I think, for me. This bothered me, my OCD. I got to get Late Night with the Devil in its own little square. Why don't you go to your home? Go to your home, ball! Don't you want to go to your home? Kaku! God, I wish I stayed home instead of going to see this movie. Look, everybody was blowing their load about this, it felt like at the time, but this is one of those movies that is the definition of croissant. Very simple story that wasn't that hard to figure out, and they over-convoluted the fuck out of it just to try to make it seem like more of a fascinating topic than it was, and it was really just kind of dumb in my opinion. I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. Man, there's a jump scare in there, and the look of this thing, that was so cool. And the acting's good all throughout. Dan Stevens is great as always. But yeah, God, it just goes nowhere to me. I've almost never felt more unfulfilled by a movie in my life. I'm gonna put Kaku in Steve's butt. That's what I'm gonna do, because it's almost everything I hate about those kind of movies, you know. Longlegs. Talk about a movie that is divisive, however the fuck you say that word. Nicolas Cage's performance, over the top amazing. I love the satanistic elements to this, man. Me and my daughter went to see this in the Kentucky Theater, which is like super old, like draconian drapes and shit like that. Just a really great place to see a movie that's actually supposed to be scary. I don't know if this fulfilled the promise of scariness that they alleged out. People saying the scariest movie of the decade. Like, pump the brakes, Paul. I hope you got your name on the poster for that one. But I think that ruined a lot of people's experience because they expected something else. I just thought it was it was a sort of scary, really cool, Seven-esque detective story involving Satanistic tendencies. And I enjoyed the performances in it a lot. I love Osgood Perkins' work. This one for me goes to Almost Touches the Sun. I really loved Longlegs a lot. I thought it got a bad rap because it was so overblown by people, but I still think it was a really good movie. And just enjoyed the living piss out of it. One movie I did not enjoy the living piss out of, or any pisses out of, was A Quiet Place Day One. I got some shit for this online because I put my review out right when everybody was kind of praising it, and I went and saw it, and I was like, magoo. Like, what the fuck, man? almost, it just felt like such a pointless movie. Like, let's just walk around in the street and talk about our feelings instead of adding any cool new lore to the monsters or the story going around or whatever. This movie just felt so. And that guy putting everyone's lives at risk just because he has anxiety, like, I get it. But if that's me, I'm walking away and leaving people alone. Like, I'm not going to get all these people killed just because I have anxiety. I get anxiety. I have it. You know what I'm saying? But I really didn't love the characters in this. And I just thought that just boring. I just thought it was a really boring, depressing ass movie and did not enjoy it at all. I'm putting it in Steve's butt. Yes, I am. Man, Steve's butt's getting full. And let's just add one more to it. How about The Crow? Obvious Steve's butt candidate right there. Big candidate for Steve's butt. The Crow was absolute dog shit. And I don't even have to explain myself. Like, I think we all know this. If you're going to make The Crow, why make him Brandon Lee? Like, no, but I want to make him a mumble rapper. And I want to have it be about, like, just the love story and not really care about everything else. But I will throw in a cool action scene in. That'll make up for it with a bunch of CGI blood. Well, it fucking didn't. Okay, Paul? It did not. And it was an embarrassment to Brandon Lee's memory, in my opinion. It could have been named anything else. Like, it had none of the essence of The Crow, in my opinion. Hate that fucking movie. I hate it. I am on a roll right now, and you guys will think I'm a big negative Nancy because I'm about to say some bad things about a movie that people loved. Again, Smile 2. Wow. I love the first Smile movie. Love the Smile monsters. Love the idea of the anxiety and stuff that goes with that movie. And it's kind of an anxiety monster in a weird way. Smile 2 just missed all those marks for me. I thought it had some cool monster stuff to it when they showed it. The opening, fucking badass, man. That opening was amazing. And they really screwed that up from there. They should have followed that story and done that. Again, it was a great performance, and I hated the character. The character, in my opinion, was an awful person who spent the entire movie whining even before the demon went after them. Like, yeah, oh my God, you're a rich pop star who actually like has ruined people's lives with your actions, and we're supposed to feel bad for you because you're rich and famous now. And it's like, I just hated the character. Great actress, she did a great job. Hated the character, ruined the movie for me personally. Smile 2, in my opinion, I will put in fuckable though. I will put it in fuckable because of the opening, the ending I liked a lot. And some of the effects were still great in my opinion. How about, I want to do a positive one. I got to be positive. I feel like I'm being negative Nancy over here. Okay, Alien Romulus. Alien Romulus goes and almost touches the sun for me. I think that's pretty easy, man. Fede Alvarez just recreated the look and feel of Alien in an awesome way and just added a fun ride to it. That end was just fucking nutcrack crazy, man. What a blast the end was. When that thing smiled, I almost pissed my pants. And some great jump scares. Just really dug Alien Romulus. I know it was too fan servicey for some, and I get that. I do, but I enjoyed the piss out of it. I really did. Alien Romulus is almost touches the sun for me. Easy. ISS. Not to be confused with ISIS. We would definitely put those in Steve's butt. I'm going to put ISS in fuckable because this movie, what a cool premise. I think an amazing premise. Like, some really good ideas in there when they're in the space station and their countries tell them that they have to try to take it over from each other. Some real tense stuff, and they just really just tripped and fell on their face with it. But it was still well acted, well made, good enough to be in fuckable. I don't hate anything about it. It was just pretty boring, and they kind of fucked up the idea. This next movie, not quite a horror movie, but again, it pushes that thriller crime idea. It kind of pushes the idea of a horror movie into thriller, and it's got Richard Brake in it, who's fucking awesome. And it's a really good movie that I just want to talk about because I don't think enough people saw. If you enjoy movies that are Tarantino-esque, Reservoir Dogs, stuff like that, not exactly like that at all, but just ideas like that, but in a Western kind of tone. Last Stop in Yuma County Man. I really enjoyed this movie. A nice what the fuck is coming next sort of movie. I won't even say anything about it except for it's just a story that unravels. Like, you know, Murphy's Law, what can go wrong will go wrong. Kind of happens in this movie with these characters, and it's fascinating. I think this movie's pretty rad, and that's where I'm going to stick it. I didn't have to put it that way. You know what I'm going to stick something in is Steve's butt. Imaginary, get in Steve's fucking butt. I did a whole 20-minute like rant about this movie and the fucking asinine ass, thoughtless, AI-driven, shit fuck, everything that's wrong with horror movies today movie, Imaginary. What a waste of fucking time. Fuck you, Blumhouse, for even considering creating this movie and then creating it into the piece of hot dog shit that it was. Honest to God, you should have to sell your entire studio for making that embarrassing piece of shit. Fuck that movie for life. It's probably the worst movie I saw all year, only to be compared to another Blumhouse person who we're going to stick right in Steve's fucking buns, and that is Night Swim. Another example of thoughtless, creatively bankrupt. We know that we can get teenagers to come watch this in the theater and they won't give a fuck about how shitty it is. Embarrassing film, Night Swim. Honestly, God, though, like, Night Swim's worth it to watch just for a laugh. That's some of the just dumb fuck shit they do in it. Still going in Steve's butt, though. And let's continue with the trilogy of Blumhouse awfulness from this year. Let's go with another Steve's butthole entry, Afraid. I love John Cho. This movie was just, it's about AI, and ironically, once again, felt like it was made by AI. PG-13, zero actual scares, predictable from top to bottom, and in the end made no fucking sense at all. This movie just said, fuck it. These people are too stupid to even follow a film. Let's just throw some slop at them, like the lady in Billy Madison. Like, I heard you like them extra sloppy. Like, fucking just flapping that hot potatoy shit on a plate for you because we know you dumb fucks will eat it up. That is Afraid from Blumhouse, and that goes into Steve's buns. And that deserves a drink of this coffee, of which the mug you can get at the link below. And this hoodie. You should see my underwear. I'm not wearing any, but I did put a stamp of this on my dick. Never Let Go with Halle Berry was an interesting film because it was directed by one of my favorite horror directors that's working, whose name, for some reason, I'm not remembering whatsoever right now. And that name is High Tension. Oh, it's on the tip of my dick. Oh my God. He directed High Tension. He directed Crawl. Alexander Aja directed this, and I'm always fascinated. It's right there on the cover. God damn it. I'm always fascinated with what he can do as a director because he can get mean. He's not afraid to get mean. He's not afraid to get fucked up and try some new stuff. Never Let Go is pretty tepid, all things considered, when it comes down to that. Just a pretty forgettable movie. Like, when you spend a lot of time in a post-apocalyptic world, in a place where they're stuck on these ropes and not a lot's happening, like, you kind of want a big payoff. And at times they sort of hinted at delivering it, but it never really got there. Never Let Go is going to go to fuckable for me. Not a bad made movie at all, and it had some stuff that makes it worth watching. Just didn't really pull it off in the end. Woman of the Hour. Speaking of stuff that didn't pull it off. This is a story that really should have been about, honestly, anything else except for the character it was about. You know, and it is fascinating because the character goes on a game show, and it's one of those like dating game shows, and she finds out that one of her suitors is an actual serial killer. And it's the story of him and the women that he killed and that stuff. And it's a well-made movie and there's good stuff to it, but it just really it's afraid to ever go anywhere fascinating we haven't seen with anything before. It kind of feels like a half-decent true crime documentary on Netflix. It gets way too wrapped up in its politicking about certain things like that I'm just like, okay, I was here to watch a serial killer movie. I'll put this one in fuckable at best, but I'll be honest with you, of any of these in fuckable, if something else comes up that deserves a spot, I will put Woman of the Hour and Sucks My Butt Steve, just because it just hasn't sat well. Beetlejuice! Really enjoyed this one, honestly. Like, I did. Like, I thought for movies, they usually don't, when you have a movie that's a classic, putting out a sequel years and years later, obviously it doesn't work out many times. Beetlejuice, I thought it did. They took a lot of time to the practical effects and whatnot. I love the lighting. I love how I felt like I was back in that world. I love how much time we spent underground. They kind of pushed the plot a little bit too full. It's not perfect, but man, I had a good time with it. And just my favorite song performance of the year is in this movie with I left the cake out in the rain, and I don't think I can take it, 'cause it took so long to bake it. Oh no! I had to finish it once I started it. Yeah, that was awesome. I'll put Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is pretty rad. I enjoyed the piss out of it. I really did. I keep saying that over and over again. Don't know why, but you're just gonna have to deal with it, aren't you? Don't Move, Netflix. Sam Raimi produced but not directed. Don't get that confused. Cool little idea. Amazing performance from Finn Wittrock as a serial killer. And the story is he is a serial killer, and he gives this woman a medicinal cocktail to where she can't move anything on her body, her eyelids, nothing, for a period of time, and she has to try to escape him without being able to literally move. So I feel like the premise was all right. I kind of got sick of it really quick, but an American Psycho-ish Finn Wittrock performance that I really enjoyed that made it worth watching. But apart from that, it was just all right. It'll go into the fuckable category right here. All right, what else we got here? We're getting there. We are getting there. How about Terrifier 3? Terrifier 3 for me goes to Almost Touches the Sun. It's not my favorite of the franchise. 2 takes that, but it's my second favorite of the franchise, and I really like this franchise so far. The kills, they took them to a whole nother level. It was still just as entertaining. It really took what Terrifier 2 did and just kept that momentum going. Like Sienna was still a badass. Art was still hilarious. I call David Howard Thornton the Jim Carrey of horror, and I can't wait to see where this franchise goes. I love the Christmas setting to it. A wonderful addition to the franchise so far, and that goes Almost Touches the Sun. Let's see here, Jim. Maxine, my favorite of the Ty West trilogy. Yeah, I know a lot of people will go towards X. Some people will go towards Pearl. I'm a Maxine guy. You know, I really enjoyed it. I love how they tied in the true crime. I love the 80s slasher elements. I love the video store stuff. But most of all, I love how that last half of the movie was kind of Shane Black-ish. Lethal Weapon type of stuff, like a weird version of that. I really enjoy that. That's right up my alley. And I think all 3 films are really great. I enjoyed the aspect of the dad, of the crazy cult shit that was going on as well. It was a movie tailor-made for me out of the 3. I like them all a lot. Maxine goes to Almost Touches the Sun for me as well. I know I feel like I'm being stingy with the all-timers here. Maybe it's like recency bias, but the other way. Like I'm afraid to put anything from this year there, but you know, not a bad year for horror by any means. It's just, I don't think there's anything I can really stick in there with the classics of the classics yet. There's a couple that really get close though, you know. Are we done? Did we do them all? Fuck me with a hot poker. Don't though. Salem's Lot, yeah. How about Strange Darling? Again, not specifically a horror movie, but it involves serial killers. It's a thriller. It works. And my God, I can't remember her name, shit. Willa Fitzgerald. And my God, did Willa Fitzgerald prove me wrong. I really was not a fan of the Scream TV series or her character at all. But my God, is she not only is she just fucking stunning in this movie, but she's also just puts over one of the top performances of the year, no doubt about it. And so does horror stalwart Kyle Gallner, who has made a case for him as one of the franchise's greatest Scream Kings, as opposed to Scream Queens. He's amazing in the movie. She's amazing in the movie. Just one of the best thrillers I've seen in years. I love the shit. What a tightly written, sexy, fucking hot shit movie that was. Really enjoyed it. It's also going to go into Almost Touches the Sun, one of my favorite movies of the year. I definitely want to check that out if you guys haven't got a chance to yet. Sting, Spider movie, came out earlier in the year. It was fine, you know? It was literally the definition of fuckable to me. Some pretty good Spider stuff in there. The story was a little boring. A little of a ho-hum place to spend a couple hours, but some Evil Dead Rise vibes to it for sure, with a giant spider walking around. So if you're a person who likes the giant spider movies, totally worth it. And that fills up fuckable. Do we have anything left? We may be, and I think, yep, we are. That's it, guys. That is all the horror movies I saw in 2024 in a tier list, and there's probably a couple that I forgot for sure. And again, I still need to see Immaculate. I still need to see Nosferatu, not out yet for me, because we're not fancy like that. We don't have the screenings near us. But yeah, what do you guys think? I'm sure some of this will really piss some people off. I think it was a pretty solid year for horror. I think we did a pretty damn good job in horror, and I'm proud of shit of you. Some really bad Blumhouse examples of how not to do horror movies. And but man, that Almost Touches the Sun. There are 6 fucking bangers in there as far as I'm concerned. I love it. That was a good year for horror, man. May do a video at some point doing 2023 horror versus 2024 horror, just to kind of check up on where the genre is heading as a whole. Let me know below if you guys would like to see that, as well as one of these tier lists. And join us Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern for fun tier lists and top 10s and shit like this. They're a lot more of a blasty blast in the pants than just me drinking coffee and running my voice out. So thank you for spending time with me today. I really love this. I love you guys, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. What are you gonna do on October 31st?
What are you gonna do on October 31st?
Here comes that white-faced fucker, an asshole like no other. He's a big old piece of shit. Wants to stab your sister's tits cause he's a white-faced fucker. Loomis can't recover. Dr. Challenge drunk again, sleeping with your sister's friends.
Do you want to know about the darkness?
I said, God damn.
God damn you, faggot!
I said, God damn.
lot of people don't know the darkness that goes inside their hearts.
I said, God